Hello, Dane. The first thing I want to acknowledge is that there are millions of people living better lives in terms of felt human experience than you and I, and whose lives do not fit into the box or the program that I'm going to lay out, whose lives may not fit into any cohesive system. In other words, this outline of how to measure and guide a life is for you because you like words, you like systems, you like things to make sense, right? But other people, some of them happier, more spontaneous, more crazy in their inconsistencies, can live rich, full, meaningful lives, tons of vitality and success on their own terms that have no seeming clear connection to what I'm going to outline. So if you are lost and need a system to outline how well you're doing in life and you want to figure that out and make sense, this is a system that works well for me. So number one is, are you climbing your human needs? So every human being has the need to survive, feel secure in that survival, experience love and belonging, develop self-esteem, discover their talents and gifts, and develop those talents and gifts, bring those talents and gifts into the world, creating and co-creating abundance, right? A sense of abundance for oneself, for others, creating value. And on the other side of that abundance, serving something bigger than ourselves. So your job is to give a 1 to 10 scale rank as to how you're doing on survival. How are you doing in security? How are you doing on love and belonging? How are you doing in self-esteem? And as you climb that hierarchy, find an area where you're low and then take steps to expand your capacity to fulfill that need, right? And so in that area, you can grow. And a measure of success, a measure of a life well lived, is how successfully you have fulfilled each of your own needs and learned how to do it masterfully. Love and belonging is classic, meaning very few people feel deeply love themselves, and feel that all of themselves belong, right? So globally, certainly in Western cultures, that might get a 2 or maybe a 3 out of 10. Well, how do you double that? Like if you can take the norm that you've been given and double it with a certain degree of confidence and mastery, meaning you can repeat it and you know what you're doing, well, that's a life worth living. That's a successful life. Now, once you get through with fulfilling human needs, you might look at preferences, things that bring you pleasure, bring you joy. I always love cut flowers, so I have several vases in the house at any given point, and it's just a sense that every time I see those beautiful flowers, I feel a sense of joy. That's secondary, meaning once you fulfill needs, you start working on preferences. Another measure is you look at heart, mind, and body, and you say, and you can expand it. You can say money, relationships, work and career, heart, mind, and body. You could create a framework, but those are good ones. And then you say, how well are you doing? Have you developed mastery with your career? Has that translated into mastery with money? Have you developed competence in the area of friendship. Are you satisfied with your friendships? So what is unsatisfying about them? Do you know how to create a friend? Do you know how to bring that friendship to a high level of quality? Do you know how to find someone capable of doing that? So you measure how you're doing in this general umbrella of heart, mind, and body, and you look for symmetry and growth, which leads us to the next measure of a life worth living, of success, which is to continually expand one's possibility field, one's fulfillment of needs, one's fulfillment of preferences, one's fulfillment of skills, of learning new forms, right? To expand who you are to something more. And the measure of success is not where you are. Everyone is born at a different point. Everyone is given a certain starting point, but it's rather the growth, right? If you start with $1 billion and every year you get a negative 3% return, you may be a millionaire by the time you die. But that's not a testament of success. That's luck, right? The testament of success is starting with $100 and doubling it every single year. You will be a billionaire by the time you retire, but more importantly, you are growing your skills. A final kind of lens to look at a life worth living, a successful life, is looking at evolution. Evolution, life, all that is, in our current narrative started with nothing. First there was nothing. And then, once upon a time, poof, energy, life came into being. All life started out this big and has been expanding exponentially ever since, getting longer, getting taller, getting bigger in space and in time. And as it does, it experiments with itself. It divides the one into two, the two have sex. New synergies emerge in some of that sexuality. Those things expand, divide into two, have sex, divide into five, have sex, and life just keeps iterating and iterating over time. So life is getting longer, it is getting bigger, it is getting more complex, and it is expanding its possibility field by doing so in every single moment of the existence of life. In only a few, 10 to 30 billion years, depending on who you talk to, life has gone from something very small and very simple to something vast in time, vast in space, and infinitely complex. Right? That is the journey of life. And in its complexity, in its vastness, as its possibility field expands in all directions, we are part of life. As we get older, life succeeds with us. As we get bigger in our influence, as our bodies grow, as our influence in the ecology grows, life succeeds through us. As we become unique, life succeeds through us in iterating a new experiment. And if our experiment doesn't get to run to its natural conclusion, you don't get to see, did it work out, right? Because only 1% of life's experiments continue to the next iteration. Most of them are duds, right? But of all the billions of species, right, we exist as one of the winners. All the many points in time, we exist in this point. All the many points in space, we exist here. We are part of the 1% that made it from the last iteration to this iteration. And life is not done yet. It's just getting started. But if we can make life more sustainable, more intelligent, more complex, expand its possibility fields, if we can take life to a higher level of success and of fun, right? We are in service to evolution. Moving from the sympathy or the unconditional surrender and download of a culture into an infant, to the antipathy and rejection and criticism of an adolescent, we move from adolescence to adulthood by accepting the best of what is and what was, rejecting the worst of what is and what was, and iterating something completely new, becoming an adult, contributing, sucking energy in the infancy and adolescence, contributing energy back, giving life something back that never existed before.